I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and this is my review and installation of the Rugged Ridge Windshield Light Bar Kit fitting all 1997 to 2006 TJs. Today we're going to talk through the installation of this kit, which I am going to give a 2 out of 3 wrenches. Getting the bar itself installed on the Jeep is a very simple task. However, getting the wiring for the lights finished up is going to take a little bit more time and a little bit more skill, even though there is a wiring harness included with this kit. So again, 2 out of 3 wrenches and probably around 2 hours of your time. But we'll talk more about the install in just a second. We're also going to talk through the construction and a few of the features of this kit. This kit is for those of you who are looking to add some auxiliary lighting onto your TJ, but want something that's a little bit more of a hybrid application. Now, this takes a more traditional style of a metal light bar designed to mount lights on it, but instead of putting 4 or 5 individual halogen round lights, which would give you more of that old school look, this is going to include 3 13.5-inch LED light bars. And there are a couple of different benefits to running 3 individual bars, in my opinion. These, with the wiring harness that they come with, are going to be individually switched lights, and even though out of the box they are all going to be that same flood and driving combination beam, if you ever wanted to switch out lights to ones that had a different beam pattern or maybe a different color on them, or even just the fact that these are individually switched right out of the box, is going to give you a lot more flexibility than if you were to, say, run just a single 50-inch LED light bar across the top of the windshield. So again, I like this kit because it gives you some flexibility. It is a little bit more of a hybrid kit. Now, because you are getting 3 LED light bars, you are getting your mounting light bar, and you're getting your wiring harnesses, this kit is going to be a little bit expensive. You're going to be in right around the same realm as one of the higher end 50-inch LED light bars. Now, of course, those aren't necessarily going to come with your mounts and your switching and all of that, but that just gives you an idea for comparison as far as the price you're going to be at for this kit. So you really have a couple of different pieces that you're getting when you purchase this kit. First off is, of course, your mounting bracket. And as I said, it is a little bit more of that hybrid style bracket. It attaches to the windshield frames, has a tubular bar that comes up and across the top of the windshield. But again, instead of having just a couple of light tabs for 4 or 5 individual lights, this is going to have tabs that are welded and designed specifically to accept 3 13.5-inch Rugged Ridge LED light bars. This also has a bit of a wind deflector built into it, which also gives it a little bit more style. It should also keep the noise down. Sometimes these light bars like to whistle, or you may get a little bit of noise between the light bar and the top of the windshield frame. You may also get a little bit of buffeting from your soft top without this deflector, so this wind deflector helps with all of that. As far as a light mount bar goes, I think that this is a pretty well built one. I like the way that the brackets are designed at the bottom. They curve around your windshield hinges instead of just being 2 flat pieces that are welded on like some of the others. This has a little bit more style to it. This also comes with a foam piece pre-applied to the inside, so you're not going to get any chafing of your factory paint when you have this bar in place. Again, as I said, these are going to be a combination driving and flood beam. Now, for above the windshield, I don't love a flood beam. Sometimes you can get too much bounce back of light hitting the hood and coming back into the driver's eyes, which can sort of ruin your night vision a little bit. However, these are going to give you a large spread of light, so you are going to have a lot of usable light in a lot of areas. So overall, I don't think that they're a bad choice. These do have Cree LEDs inside of them, and if you've been doing some research on LED light bars, you'll know that Cree makes a really high quality diode, which is going to hold up for a really long time. You're not going to end up with individual burnt out LEDs in your light bar. This is also a waterproof bar, so it really is designed to be mounted on the Jeep and designed to hold up for an extended period of time. Now, once you get the lights mounted on the light bar, you're of course going to have to power them somehow, and these do come with a wiring harness. It is a wiring harness that you have to put together though. So it has 3 individual relays with individual fuses, 1 for each of the lights. And then you do have 3 individual switches that you can switch all of these lights independently. Because these are all powered off of relays, you could also switch them together if you only had one switch spot, you didn't want 3 switches in the cab. You have a lot of different options there, which is one of the nice parts about that wiring harness coming in pieces and you having to put it together. You, again, get to customize it a little bit, you have a little bit more flexibility. However, if you're not somebody who's comfortable with automotive wiring, that may be a little bit frustrating for you because it is going to take a little bit more effort to get these lights wired up. As I said before, because of the wiring, I am going to give this a 2 out of 3 wrenches, and I am going to say about 2 hours to get this installed on your TJ. The first step in the installation is actually going to be mounting your light bars on your light bar bracket. Once you have all 3 of the bars bolted onto the center section of the bracket, you're going to be removing a few of the Torx head bolts that are in your factory windshield frame. Once you have those bolts removed, you'll reinstall all of those factory bolts through your new bracket. Now, this is an area where it'll definitely help to have an extra set of hands around. Just this setup here does have a little bit of weight to it. By the time you mount all 3 of your light bars on there, it is going to get a little bit heavy. You certainly don't want to slip, scratch your paint on your Jeep or dent your hood. So having an extra set of hands can definitely come in handy. Now, Rugged Ridge does recommend using a silicone sealer around this joint here. That'll help to keep noise down, help to keep it from chafing so you don't get rust, and of course keep water out as well. So you will want to use a little bit of a silicone sealer on there. Now, once you have the light bar installed on your Jeep, then you're going to go ahead and do your wiring. And this is an area where you can do it a lot of different ways, depending on how cleanly you want to run the wiring, how much experience you have with wiring. If you don't have any experience and you're not comfortable with automotive wiring, there's no shame in just installing everything and taking your Jeep to a shop to have them finish up the wiring portion for you. Again, you're going to want to give yourself about 2 hours to get this all installed. You're going to need your traditional hand tools, and you're also going to need some wiring tools. Because this kit does include the bracket, 3 LED light bars, and your wiring harnesses, this does come in at around $840, but I don't think that that is an astronomical price for what you get. I think you're getting really high quality components, you're getting well-built parts that are going to last a long time, and when you compare it to what else you can get on the market for around the same price, I think you're getting a lot more flexibility out of this setup than you would from, say, just a 50-inch light bar like we talked about before. Now, if I was going to piece a kit together like this, I would probably go with a light that had a slightly different beam pattern, just so you don't get quite as much bounce back from the hood. But that's more of a personal preference thing than anything else. If you like the pattern that you're going to get from these, I think that the price tag fits the value. So if you're looking to add some auxiliary lighting to your TJ and you like the location of over the windshield, but you want more flexibility than you can get from just a 50-inch LED light bar, I think this is going to be a fairly priced and easy to install kit. So that's my review of the Rugged Ridge Windshield Light Bar Kit fitting all 1997 to 2006 TJs that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.